is the 77 WABC minicast.
Let's get to the Fox Business superstar. She's great with me every Friday. She was great with Imus many years ago. She has served 4 presidents, most recently President Trump. She's really great. KT McFarland. KT, good morning. How are you?
I'm just terrific, and I just think that the next 2 weeks are going to be so significant for not just for the United States, but for the world, because I think we win this Iran war, and I think we do it in a short period of time.
I hope you're right. I have to tell you that I've got a lot of inside people, okay? And they're telling me that this war's not over. Stop it. President Trump, oh, it's over. It's almost over. Like you're talking about, we're getting ready to wrap it up and celebrate a victory. But I've got people who know, military people, who say, no, it's not over. May not even be close to being over. So what's the real truth? Is this thing really going to be over soon, or are we going to tell people that, but kind of quietly still working in Iran?
I think, you've got a point. Are they militarily completely leveled and defanged? No. I think they're 75 to 85 to 90% defanged, and in some areas 100% defanged. But the war has now moved from Operation Epic Fury, the military part of it, to the economic part of it. And that's where they have they have a clock that's ticking that they can't evade. Now, what does that mean? So Iran, we always knew, and we've known for decades, that Iran would always use a blockade of the not a blockade, but closing the Strait of Hormuz as their final weapon. When I was in the Reagan administration, they did it. We called their bluff. They undid it. But we always knew that was their go-to position at the end. And that they would hold the world hostage. They blackmail. Their whole thing is blackmail, whether it was holding hostage American diplomats 47 years ago when they took the American embassy, whether it's holding the world economy hostage with the Strait of Hormuz, whether it was potentially holding the whole world hostage with nuclear weapons were they to achieve them. But President Trump's masterstroke is to flip the script because, okay, so they can stop the Strait of Hormuz, but we can blockade. And the blockade is preventing all ships going to or from Iran. What does that mean? That means that Iran is not receiving any goods into its country. A lot of them were consumer goods. They're not receiving those. Those ships are not getting to Iran. And Iran is not able to then export any oil on the tankers to the rest of the world and get income. They're probably losing $250 million a day in unrealized income. It's probably $500 million a day in trade that isn't happening. Now, that could go on for quite a while because Iran has a huge tolerance for pain, especially the leadership.
Right.
But what puts the clock on it is the oil wells and how it works. So oil comes out of the ground in oil wells in Iran. It goes in a pipeline that goes to Karg Island. That from the pipeline, the oil goes onto tankers. The tankers then filled up, go on their merry way. The fact that they're not able to do that, those tankers could be filled, but they have to stay right where they are. They can't get through the strait, means that the whole thing starts backing up in about 2 weeks. There's about 2 weeks of sort of slack time in the pipeline, and within 2 weeks, then the pipeline backs up, the oil wells back up, the oil wells burst. I mean, literally just don't function anymore. They could turn off the wells, but that then causes them a lot of other problems. It may take them 5-10 years to rebuild that well pipeline system. So I think they've got 2 weeks before they're facing economic ruin.
Well done. You just explained it perfectly. But let me tell you this, because I talk to a lot of people, as you know, KT, okay? We have a governor and a mayor in this state that are ready, willing, and able to tax anybody who's enjoyed success, which is anti-American as it gets. To me, that's as anti-American. When I call the mayor anti-American, don't get mad at me, okay? When you want to tax people like John Catsimatidis, who came here with nothing, up the ass, to the point where they want to leave, we got a major issue in this city and this state. On a more silly side, but to be honest, you got a baseball team in New York that has decided to cancel Jewish Heritage Night, okay? We got a Congress that's an absolute mess. Eric Swalwell this week had to resign. Tony Gonzalez had to resign. We got midterms coming up, and Republicans are scared to death. Why am I stating all this? Because from the people that I speak to, many which are Trump supporters, many of which voted for President Trump all 3 times. You know what they're sick of hearing about? Iran. Nobody cares. He's got to end this thing, figure it out, get the prices down. I am having more and more people tell me who love Trump that A, they don't believe him. They're not sure whether we won. We won in dramatic fashion. We did okay. And B, again, the Strait, Cork Island, we got issues in the Bronx. You see what I'm saying?
Totally. And that's why I think the Iran war, most people can't even find it on a map. But what they can find is the price of the gasoline when they go to the pumps. If I'm right, if this scenario, and it's going to be white knuckles the whole way, this is not for the weak of heart, but for the next 2 or 3 weeks, if President Trump can get an end to this war, can get Iran to the point where they collapse almost, the leadership will have no choice, then I think the Iran war is over, the price of oil keeps flowing, and the price of gasoline goes down. But what we will have achieved is not just to stop Iran's nuclear program, but we will achieve dominance of world energy and world oil. Right now, the United States is the world's major oil and natural gas producer. We're the biggest exporter of natural gas. We are now, you take the big picture, so we now control the United States energy. We now control Venezuela's energy. We also have great influence over the Gulf Arabs. And if we can do a deal like Venezuela, if we can do a deal with Iran, and these are a lot of ifs, we could then really control world energy. What does that mean? The only energy source, major source of energy in the world that we don't control is Russia.
Interesting.
But all that,
yeah.
And then there's no coincidence that Indonesia, we just have a new partnership with Indonesia this week, another major oil producer. So once that happens, the United States energy prices will go way down. Gasoline will go down. All the things that go into manufacturing, those prices will go down. We will be the most competitive economic country in the world for manufacturing and everything else. Now, will it take some time? Yeah, but I think that you will see a sudden decrease of gasoline prices very quickly if this Iran war works out. So I totally agree with everything you said. It's all about the economy. It's all about the craziness of the Democrats trying to do un-American things like tax certain people they don't like or give special privileges of certain races that they do like. I think that all is just vanishes if you have economic prosperity in the United States, which you could start having in a couple of months' time.
Breaking news, the Israeli government, how about this, has released its official list of the top anti-Semites around the world. There are 11 of them. I'll read them off to you. One of them is running against my friend Randy Fine for Congress down in Florida. His name is Dan Bilzerian. You guys should get to know that guy. He's a bad guy. How about this one? Greta Thunberg. Remember her? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Bassam Youssef is on the list. Candace Owens. This is the Israeli government. Abdel Bari Atwan is on this list. Omar Suleiman happens to be related to the guy that President Trump blew up. Anastasia Maria Loops, Nick Fuentes, Ian Carroll, and Tucker Carlson. According to the Israeli government, those are the 11 biggest anti-Semites in the world. I would advise them to add a 12th, one by the name of Zoran Mamdani, but that's up to them. But on a news front for Israel, there's 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. What are your thoughts on that?
The reason this is so important, and nobody even paid attention to it, I mean, this is Trump's 10th peace deal, is because Hezbollah is now weak. It's weak not weak necessarily weakened to the point of extinction militarily, but who pays for Hezbollah? Iran pays for Hezbollah. So if the scenario I've outlined works, Iran doesn't have any extra money for Hezbollah. It's just has enough, they're trying to feed their own people. And so if Hezbollah is denied of its international support financially, on the world stage, especially in the region in the Middle East, it's a pariah. And if the government of Lebanon, which is quite weak, militarily completely weak, but it's partnering with Israel, if there's a deal there to be had, this is the time to finish off Hezbollah. They did a great job of degrading Hezbollah, Israel did, in the last several months, but it's not finished off yet. To finish it off. And then what are you going to look at in the Middle East? There's peace in the Middle East. Now, again, this is going to have ups and downs, and the market will go up and down, and your gas prices will go up and down and sideways. But I think within several weeks, this is all resolved one way or another.